YouTube? Clover Bells here, back with another Series 12 team building video, and today we're formally looking at Palkia Zacian. So I've been requested to do Palkia Zacian before, and actually I did it. It was the very first team I did, actually. If you look back in our Series 12 rules announced video, I did a sample team building in that one, but that was at the end of the video. So that means most of you did not make it that far into that video, because we did a sample video where a sample session where we did build Palkia Zacian, because I thought that was going to be a very strong team heading into Series 12, and even right now in the middle of March it still is a very strong team. But right now what we're going to do is we're going to formally build it and because our EVs and some of our mons have slightly changed since then, but for the most part it's pretty much the same core. So the reason why these are really good together is because they cover a lot of their weaknesses, because Zacian suffers against Incin and Intimidate, whereas Palkia does really well against Incin because you're a water type, you're a dragon type, so you quad resist fire types in general, and you don't get affected by Intimidate, right? And then in terms of the Quake stuff, Palkia is neutral to that, but Palkia also suffers from fairy moves, whereas Zacian can pretty much resist those fairy moves, and even against dragon moves, right? Because Palkia doesn't want to take a max Wormwind, doesn't want to take a dragon move. If you can pivot into your Zacian, the dragon move does 0 damage because you are a fairy type as well. So both of them, they cover each other's weaknesses relatively well. And the advantage of using Palkia is you quad resist Kyogre, the strongest moves from its arsenal, like Water Spout or even Origin Pulse. You quad resist it, so there's that regard. And then from there, all you have to do is just cover the rest of the meta, and it's fairly standard with what you want to do, because typically with these Palkia Zacian teams, they have more or less a similar core with like 2 of the mons that are just filler, depending on how you want to play the team. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to add the Amoongus here. This is what's going to be giving us a Trick Room matchup, and it gives us a grass type on the team that we very much appreciate. So what you can do is you can lead Palkia Amoongus, and then you can go for a redirection and then set up your Trick Room. This is really good against those hyper offensive teams that really want to go fast and go zoom. But if you click the Trick Room button, they can't do that, right? And then when Trick Room is over, then you can bring in your Zacian in the back and then just finish the game from there. So Palkia Amoongus is really, really good. And then from here, now you have to start thinking about your own Incineroar, your own fire type, right? So Incineroar is going to come here with, of course, Intimidate. And if you look here, now we're starting to build our core. We have a Dragon, Fairy Steel with the Zacian, and then we also have a Fire, Water, Grass core, right? Because Incin is the fire type, Palkia is the water type, and Amoongus is our grass type, right? So we have both of our typical VGC cores on this kind of team, which is really, really good in terms of defensive pivoting. And the Incin is really good against both Calyrex-Ices, because we're going to have a dark move on it. We have Intimidate cycling, so this way it's also good against Groudon, good against Zacian, good against Calyrex-Ice Rider. Anything physical, especially those off-meta physical mons like Zygarde, Zamazenta, Ho-Oh, you name it. Incin does a really, really good job against those. It might as well just be restricted in general, right? So this is the core, honestly. Like Palkia, Amoongus, Zacian, Incin, these 4 together are relatively standard. And then from here, you just want to round it out with 2 other options. You might want to improve the Sun matchup, which is what I'm considering right now. So this is why I like to go something like Landorus here. And what's also really good with Landorus is Palkia Amoongus Lando is also a really, really nice core, because Palkia gets telepathy, which is really good with Landorus, because Landorus gets Earthquake, and you can Earthquake next to your own Palkia. Palkia doesn't take any damage because of telepathy, so really, really nice there. And if you have the Lum Berry on the Landorus, which is exactly the item we're going to go, then you can lead Amoongus Landorus, set up your redirection with Rage Powder, go for Swords Dance, and now Landorus is +2, and then if Venusaurs, which are dropping quite a bit actually, if If they want to go for, you know, sleep powders, it's not going to work on Landorus because we have the Lum Berry. And if things want to try and burn us, like, you know, those Calyrex Shadow Riders, they want to go for those fast Will-O-Wisps. It's not going to work on Landorus either because we have that Lum Berry, which is able to protect us at least for that one turn. So this is a really, really nice core. And then what you can also do is Dynamax and Landorus, go for Airstream boost, make your Palkia faster, make your Zacian faster, which is always really, really much appreciated. And then, of course, Instant can always pivot into Landorus because Instant doesn't want to take a Max Quake. If you can pivot into your Landorus, you know, then you can weaken, you know, the effectiveness of Groudon, say, because Landorus is just an absolute boon against those Sun teams. So this is like a standard 5 for me. And now here, what I want to do is just like, you know, just some extra tools in the toolkit, just for like, you know, extra speed control, you know, status affliction, you know, things like that. And I think what's really, really nice here is Thundurus. But you can also go both ways. You can go like the Assault Vest Thundurus with like Defiant, which is really good with Zacian and Landorus because, you know, things want to intimidate those two, but they're not going to be able to do that if you have an Assault Vest Thundurus. But for us, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go with a Prankster Thundurus. This way we can go for those shenanigans moves, as I like to call them, kind of like how Grimmsnarl does its moves. We don't have screens, but we do have some really, really nice Prankster moves that Palkia and Zacian can very much appreciate. Alright, so this is the 6 that we're going to go with. It's a very standard core, but you know, it's something that's always consistent. It's proven to win. And if you want to use Palkia Zacian, you know, you could always use this archetype in the beginning and just to try it out and see what you like, see what you don't like, and then modify it as you go. But just to reveal the GIFs, let's go ahead and do that. So we have Incineroar, we have Thundurus, we have Amoongus, and we have the Landorus as well. So this is our 6. So now let's just go ahead and show the EVs, the items, and the movesets. Here first. So as a reminder, when we do team building, our general rule of thumb is you want to do the moves, the items, and then the EVs, right? Because then the moves and the items, they're going to dictate the EVs that you do anyway. So always do those first when you're doing your team building. So let's just go ahead and see what we're going to do here. So of course with Palkia, we want Spatial Rend. This is our Stab Dragon move, and you know, we always get the crit hacks if we're lucky. And then from here, we want a Water Stab move like Hydro Pump. And then Earth Power. This is what is going to be really super effective against, you know, stuff like Zacian, stuff like Incin, even like an opposing Dialga. You know, things that don't want to take an Earth Power from Palkia, they're going to take an Earth Power. And what's also good with this is if you're going up against Kyogre, for example, or, you know, another kind of special attacker like Calyrex Shadow Rider, what you can do is Dynamax the Palkia, go for Max Quake, boost your special defenses, and then, you know, take those hits better, which is very much appreciated. We don't really need, you know, physical boost because we have Instant and we have Landorus. We have 2 Intimidators on the team, so we're fine on the physical end. And of course, we're gonna go with Trick Room here. Now, you can go Protect, but I really, really want to threaten the idea of Trick Room on this team, just because we can abuse things and then click Sleep, because, you know, it's always a thing that players need to prepare for if they want to have, like, you know, competitive teams. And then of course we are going to go with the Life Orb here, just so that we get extra damage on our Palkia. Alright, Amoongus, we're going to change this to Regenerator first of all. We're going to go Focus Sash here, just to guarantee at least 1 hit. So this way we can get our Trick Room up on our Palkia. Of course, Rage Powder for our Redirection, Spore, the Pleb move. And then before we go here, I want to go Protect. Now in this 3rd slot, I've thought about this. You can go Giga Drain, which is really, really nice. It's good against, like, you know, Gastrodons and Seismitoads, which is really what you want it for, because a lot of teams are running Gastrodon right now, and you really, really want a grass answer to that, because when they see Palkia, they're definitely going to be bringing those Gastrodons, and you can overpower it, you know, with what you have, especially with like Zacian and even Palkia and whatnot, but it still helps to have a grass move here. But what's also really, really nice is Grass Knot, which is more power the heavier the target. And even though it does less damage into something like Gastrodon, if you're going up against Kyogre, for example, it does it does big damage into Kyogre, because Kyogre's kind of big and does pretty good damage into Groudon as well. Not that you're going to need it so much because you have enough tools for Groudon, but Amoongus, if you do bring it into those Groudon Sun games, which you might because you want to set up Trick Room, Grass Knot looks really, really good. So I'll leave that as an option, but for now we're just going to go Giga Drain because the Gastrodon is the main threat more than Groudons and Kyogres, because Kyogres were kind of fine, so are Groudons. So I'd rather have the Giga Drain for the Gastrodon just to be able to OHKO it, because Grass Knot doesn't one-shot it because it's a little bit lighter in weight. Alright, and then from here, Zacian, standard moveset here. This one is actually the easiest one. Just 3 attack Zacian, of course, Play Rough, and Protect. So the idea here is, of course, you know, you can't have a Zacian without Behemoth Blade. Sacred Sword, really good against, you know, stuff like Ferrothorn, stuff like Dialga, stuff like opposing Incineroars. When you're not intimidated, it's going to do a lot of damage. Play Rough, really good against opposing Palkia. This is why Zacian started running Play Rough, alright, if you had to guess. Not because of Yveltal, but Behemoth Blade can just almost one-shot that thing anyway, but because Palkia resists Behemoth Blade, it was forced to drop, you know, something like Substitute, and it was forced to run Play Rough just for that matchup, and, you know, I don't blame it. Play Rough still does a lot to Palkia, so, you know, you might as well have it, and it's still good into something like Yveltal, for example. So this is the reason why they started running it. But anyway, Incineroar, safety goggles, just extra security against Sun teams. If you want not the Citrus Berry, the Shuka Berry, just to be able to take a ground type attack, at least for one turn, you know, just something against like Dialgas or something else going for like Max Quakes. Also very much appreciated. And, you know, it's good against Groudon, especially if you want to switch it into Groudon and, you know, take that Precipice Blades. Shuka Berry is also a very, very good option, but I do like safety goggles at the moment just because they might want to bring their own Amoongus, or they still have their own Venusaurs, even though it has dropped a little bit. You still want a little bit of security against that, so safety goggles instant is the way to go. Flare Blitz, Fake Out, of course, you know, and then Parting Shot just to be able to cycle in those status dropping moves, and then your dark move is, of course, Throat Chop. Alright, Landorus here, of course, Lum Berry, Earthquake, then Fly, and then Rock Slide, of course, and then Swords Dance. Believe it or not, you know, people like to give me some, give me a little backlash, not backlash, but, you know, they like to make fun of me saying like I use Grimmsnarl on every team. Actually, if you go back, if you were to count how many times I've used Landorus versus Grimmsnarl on my teams, I've actually used Landorus more times than Grimmsnarl. So take that, viewer. All right. So that's a standard moveset there. And then Thundurus here. So this is the one that's gonna, you know, this is the spoon that stirs the drink here. So of course you're gonna have Thunderbolt. All right, that's your attacking move. But then from here we want supporting moves. So you are gonna want Thunder Wave. You know, just like Grimmsnarl, you get the Power Hacks, you get a little bit of speed control, which is something the team needs. And then you have this move, Eerie Impulse, something that Grimmsnarl doesn't get. And this is really good against, you know, stuff like Kyogre, stuff like Calyrex Shadow Rider. What else is a strong special attacker that's really, really good? I believe it's just those two at the moment that I can think of. And this is even like an opposing Dynamax Venusaur, you could always use it against. So really, really good to have Eerie Impulse. And then, you know, the last move here, kind of like Rain Dance. There's a few things you can do here, actually. If you lead these two, you can even do something like Swagger, where you can Swagger your own Landorus, give it +2, and then Dynamax it, and then just smash from there. But being able to go with like something like Rain Dance can do a couple things. One, you change the weather for those Sun teams. So on lead, you could lead like Landorus Thundurus, and if they swap in their Groudon, you just click Rain Dance, and then their rain gets taken away, and the Zygarde can't really do that much damage, which is really, really good. And then two, if you do Palkia Thundurus, in the first turn, Palkia doesn't get that water boost, so you can click Rain Dance and then go for Max Geyser, a boosted Max Geyser, and then, you know, they won't expect it from there. So, you know, couple good techs that we have on Thundurus, really, really nice. Now you can also run Taunt on Thundurus, you know, just to deny something like Tailwind, or like if they want to flip their own Trick Room, deny them of their setup moves, you know, something like that. You know, if you want to go Taunt, that's also another option. But for us, we're going with Rain Dance at the moment. Okay. So this is it. I believe we got all of our moves and our items. So now let's just go ahead and do the EVs. So let's actually just start here with the Thundurus. So nothing too complicated. We're just going to go Calm here. And many of those Thunduruses, they just go like bulk and no special attack, no speed. So what we're going to do is almost, you know, pretty much the same kind of way. We're just going to go to the second EV bump here. which is, all right, so here's the first one, right? You see how you go from 119 to 121? This is the first bump. And remember, like I always say in every team building video, it's every 80 EVs that you experience that EV bump where your final stat increases by not by 1 point, but by 2 points. And there's always 3 bumps in the natured stat. So because we're calm natured, we're only going to get the 3 EV bumps in the special defense because we are calm natured. If we change the nature, we'll get the bumps elsewhere. And again, if you're trying to get into competitive Pokemon, and if you're trying to do team building and you don't know what EV bumps are, you gotta comment in the video below, ask me what EV bumps are, and I'll tell you what they are in a more written description, so this way you can follow my example a little bit better. But you gotta know what EV bumps are. All right, and then from here, so again, another 80 EVs. So what's 76 plus 80? 156. So we'll just go there, and you see how you go from 130 to 132? That's the second bump. All right, now we just wanna invest in our bulk. So you know, we could go 186, but what I want to do is, more importantly, have a little bit of EVs left over, so that way we can put 1 point in the speed and 1 point in the special attack, and then the rest we just dump into the defense here. So the reason why I'm doing this is most Thunduruses, you know, they don't run any speed, so at the very least, if we run 1 point, we can outspeed them. That's the main reason for it. All right, for our Landorus here, so basically Jolly Max Speed is a very good way to go. And then from here, what we want to do is just optimize our HP a little bit, just for like Hailstorm, chip damage, which is really nice. So we're going to go to 84 EVs invested, 175 health, and then 1 point in the SPDF, 1 point in the defense, and then the rest just gets dumped into attack. An even number for the Swords Dance, which is really nice. It might seem a little bit weak on paper, but again, you have the Amoongus for redirection. You can even lead Instant Landorus, you know, go for Fake Out, then set up your Swords Dance if it permits. You could even go for like Palkia Landorus. You know, they kind of have to choose which one. You know, they either give you the Trick Room or they give you the Swords Dance. So go figure. All right, now the Instant. I'll show you my old instant spread, and then I'll show you the one that I've been currently using. So in Trick Room, what I generally like to do is I like to run a faster Incineroar, but we're still going to go careful nature here. We'll go to the first bump first. Now, I generally like to do something like this, where I have 95 speed Incineroar, something like this, right? And then just 60... Yeah, this is exactly what I like to do. So this is my fast Incineroar spread, and it's really good in Trick Room because your parting shot goes last. So if you're up against an opposing Incineroar, if they go for their parting shot and then they bring in whatever they want in, then you go next, and then you parting shot whatever they want to bring in, and this way, you know, whatever just came in takes a -1, and then you get to switch out something else. So that's one advantage of having a faster Incineroar, and then also you get a faster Fake Out. And then if you also go for Throat Chop on their Incineroar, you stop them from going for their own parting shot because you deny sound moves. So that's 3 reasons why you want to run a faster Incineroar. But on this kind of team, you know, I kind of really like the bulk on the special defense department, and this is the same instant spread that I've been using for quite a while in quite a few videos, but this is my old one. If you like this one, definitely go for this one. The defense investment also lets it live a neutral Zacian close combat for those that are still running it, but it's not as common anymore as I thought it would be, but still kind of relevant. But anyway, this is what I've been running at the moment. So 156 here, and then that's it. So second EV bump in the special defense department, and you still have the defense investment to survive that Zacian close combat, and now you have extra special defense, which is really nice. Good next to Palkia, good next to Landorus, so really cool. Zacian here. So I've been using the same Zacian spread since the beginning of Series 12. It's just enough speed to outspeed Regieleki after a +1, or if the Lucky is -1, and it's just a bulky Adamant Landorus. So I'm sorry, bulky Adamant Zacian, and it's really just 187. This will outspeed those speed creepers that are trying to do the same thing. But all in all, we're second EV bump in the attack stat. So here's the first one where you go from 218 to 220. But I'm just gonna go another 80 EVs for 156. All right, but I want that even number because I have the Intrepid Rusted Sword boost. You know, you get a +1 when you enter battle, and you want an even number because if you have an odd number, then you get a decimal. And when you have a decimal here after a boost, Pokemon rounds it down, and you don't want it to round down, right? So this is why you want to get that even number. So this way you get a whole number and get the best bang for your buck when you get that Rusted Sword, Intrepid Sword boost. And then from here, honestly, just a little bit of HP, just up to 191, just to, you know, that magic number for, you know, hail damage or weather chip for that matter. And then the rest just goes into HP bulk. It's a really, really nice bulky Zacian spread. I never run 252 Landorus. I'm sorry, 252 Zacian. I keep confusing Zacian with Landorus for some reason. But yeah, I always run a bulky, slower Adamant Zacian. And if there's games where it comes down to it, you know, you may either win or lose depending on the circumstance. So we'll see how that turns out. The Amoongus here, so I just like Relaxed Nature. And really all it is where's the Relaxed Nature? Oh, it's letter R. You just get a nice defense boost. It lets you take Flare Blitzes from Incineroars better. It lets you take Behemoth Blades from a Zacian much better. So it's just a bulky a mushroom on the defensive side. So 156 here is what we want. This is the second bump. We do want 0 speed Amoongus just because it'll give us the best advantage in Trick Room. And then we're going to go for 219 HP stat, not full 252 here in terms of investment because we have Regenerator. And what we're doing is we're optimizing the HP for that because you get restored 1/3 value of your HP stat. So this is why we want 219 because, you know, 1/3 of 219, you get it's like 70 something, a whole number. So we don't want decimals when we switch out our Amoongus to get health back. And then from here, just the rest goes into special defense. That's all what we really want from our mushroom. So now we have just the Palkia left. So it turns out that a lot of Palkias are not running any speed at all. And I understand that because they're going for Trick Room. So what all we want to do is just go for Modest. Okay. And then just enough speed. This speed right now as it is will outspeed Thundurus at +1. But we can just go 1 point more just to outspeed opposing Palkias that have no speed. And then outspeed those potential speed creepers, right? So +121 stat is all we need because if you do the math, 121 times 1.5, it's going to be, let's take out our calculator, and that number is going to be 181.5, which rounds down to 181. Thundurus is about 179, so you know you outspeed them by 1 point. Technically 2 points because they're at 179, but we're speed creeping the speed creepers is what I'm saying. All right, from here we just want, again, here's the first bump, you know, 196 to 198. This is the first EV bump in our special attack, but I think this is a little too weak. I think we can go a little bit more, especially because we're Dynamaxing Palkia a lot. So we're just gonna go second bump here with 156, and then from here, honestly, we'll just optimize our Life Orb chip with our HP value. So we always want to end in the number 9. Because Life Orb takes 1/10 of your HP per turn. So if you optimize your HP for that, you always want to end in a 9. Because, for example, if I push this to 190, what's 190 divided by 10? 19. So you're taking 19 damage per turn with your Life Orb chip. But if you undercut the threshold and go 189, 189 divided by 10 is 18.9. So 18.9 runs down to 18. So you're only taking 18 damage per turn. But you've maximized the amount of HP that you can have, so that way, at the very least, you're still taking 18 points of damage per turn, not 19 like this, you know? So that's why we undercut the threshold when we have a Life Orb chip. And then from here, 1 point in special defense, and then a little bit in defense. Actually, that's a lot in defense. And what this calcs for is, one, with this HP defense and 1 point in special defense, you live Wormwind from Dialga. And you live a Intimidated Play Rough from a Zacian. Alright, so I'll show you those damage calcs in a second, but that's the EV spread that we're going for. So just a pretty standard hard-hitting Palkia with defensive bulk to be able to take that Play Rough Zacian, which is what a lot of Palkias are trying to do, especially, you know, on the defensive end. If you look at Pikalytics, a lot of their spreads is just, you know, in the defensive end and HP value, just so that you can take that Play Rough. A lot of them don't even have special attack investment to begin with, but you know, this is ours, so let's just go ahead and make the paste right now and show you some damage calcs. and then we'll be able to showcase it on some teams. So take a look at this. We'll show it again at the end of the video, and this will also be in the video description. And before we go into the damage calcs, again, if you're interested in team building or team fixing, those are tier 2 and tier 3 subs on the channel. So join the channel, send me a paste if you want a team fixed or optimized. I will do it for you based on what I think is relevant in the meta. Or if you want to do team building, where we build a team from scratch, we sit in a Discord call, and that's how we do it. Then join the channel from there, and then just message me either on Twitter or Discord, and then we'll get right to it. But now let's just take a look at some of the damage calcs and then some test battles. All right, so here's our Palkia EV spread, and now we're on Pokemon Showdown. I'm sorry, Pokemon Damage Calculator. So we're gonna take a look at Zacian and see how it lives to play rough. So we're gonna take a look at standard Jolly Zacian. So you see play rough just absolutely annihilates it. But if we intimidate the Zacian and bring it to neutral, so we managed to get it down to just 6.3% chance, which is all you can really ask for when it comes to this. You can drop the special attack more, so that way you can increase either your HP or your defense value, so that way you definitely 100% live it. But at this point, 6.3, I'll take that roll. Very, very favorable. So I definitely enjoy that quite a bit. Dialga, more or less the same idea. So let's just go a custom set Dialga. Let's just make it like 252 Dialga, modest. So Dynamax. Oh, it doesn't have a Wormwind, so let's just go ahead and change that real quick. Draco Meteor, for example. A lot of them are running the other move, but again, same idea. So you can also live the Dialga move. Now they may be also going for that other Roar of Time, but still, it's a very favorable roll. And you also have Eerie Impulse. Like if you click Eerie Impulse on this Max Wormwood barely does half. Like you can almost 3-hit this, 3-hit live it. So that's the other advantage of having Thundurus, where you can Wormwind this. Eerie Impulse this. Let's look at Calyrex. Not that it really matters, but let's look at this just to see. All right, standard, right? Life Orb set. So non-max, 64% again. But if you just drop this with Eerie Impulse, it just doesn't do anything. It's really, really nice. So that's the main thing with Palkia. Like you live the Dialga and you live the Zacian play rough. I'm just showing you like stuff like from something like Calyrex, but not so important with this calc, but I threw it in there. Let's take a look at some of the others. Okay, so this is our Incineroar thing. So again, 156 Careful Nature. Now against Kyogre, why am I showing Kyogre? Well, I'm showing you because if you can get an Eerie Impulse off of on Kyogre, even in the rain, Water Spout is still not like 100% KO. Like at best, 18% chance. And I'll take those chances. And if you match to chip it a little bit, Water Spout is just not going to kill it after the Eerie Impulse. So that's really, really nice. But again, the main calc here with the Incineroar is the close combat here. So if you drop this to neutral, you can live it like this, and then you just KO it with a Flare Blitz because it'll drop its defenses. So really, really nice to have. And then just to show you the bulk that it has, if you just go to Calyrex, Shadow Rider here, even if it's Life Orb, like Astral Barrage just doesn't do a whole lot. Like that's a 4-hit KO, honestly. Like it's just not going down, which is really, really nice. Now if they're Focus Sash, they're doing even less damage, so you have nothing to worry about there. So really, really nice, solid bulky instant spread that we have here. It's not as it's a little bit bulkier than my faster instant spread, but that's because those have Grimmsnarls on the team, but we don't have it here. So really, really nice for the instant. Let's look at the Amoongus. Okay, so lastly, let's look at the Amoongus. So look at Zacian Behemoth play. Like it just doesn't do enough. And even if this was like 252 Adamant, you're still not breaking it. So very nice with the bulky Shroom. And then same thing with Incineroar. Let's just pick like a random 4-attack instant. Like Flare Blitz still isn't killing. The Shroom is very bulky indeed. So the fact that you can live those 2 big hits is really, really nice. And again, even with the super effective attacks, you have the Focus Sash, so you'll be fine there. So those are the main calcs, alright? It's not like something crazy or something big. It's just all about optimization and speed tiers. The real calc was just with the Palkia, and then everything else is just relatively standard. So let's just go ahead and try it out in some of the test battles. Alright, so this one is like a Ho-Oh Sun team with Groudon, and there's the Gastrodon like I thought. So he could actually bring that, which is why I definitely want to try and bring the Amoongus. But again, the idea here is that if we just set up Trick Room, I feel like Palkia does a lot of work. But I'm also thinking about something else with the Landorus here. I think if I just go Amoongus Lando, just in case he tries to either lead like Lando or Ho-Oh, for that matter, the Landorus can be really handy. But if not, then I always have Palkia on switch in. So we'll bring Palkia in the back. Same with Zacian. Okay, so he actually just goes Ho-Oh and Blastoise. So this is fine. I have Landorus and I have Amoongus. Now, I have no idea why he's leading Blastoise with Ho-Oh like this. I've never seen this lead. He could max the Blastoise, he could max the Ho-Oh, but I don't know if he maxes the Ho-Oh now that we've intimidated it. I think he just switches it out. You know, it's just maybe into Groudon to try and take a rock move, but then you just make your Blastoise do less damage. So this could be like some weird Blastoise set like Iron Defense, Body Press that we're just not aware of. But either way, I'm just going to go straight for the Redirection and Swords Dance. So he actually clicks Fake Out, which is a nice move. And he just goes for Airstreams. So because we intimidated it, our Amoongus lives, so bulky Shroom. And now we just switch out into Palkia. We get the Regenerator going. And he goes for the Weakness Policy shenanigans. I didn't expect that, but we live anyway because we're a bulky Landorus, and he was only +1, and now we just go for the Rockfall, and we get rid of the Ho-Oh, and then that's that. Alright, and now from here, we're in a pretty good spot, because now, oh, that's just Clefairy. I mean, now we can just go back into the Shroom. He does have Icy Wind, which is always interesting when you have Blastoise clicking the Ice move. I thought he might go for an Ice move, but, you know, that's why I went for the Amoongus, but it didn't kill me. Pardon. Okay, so now here's the Groudon, but honestly, this is still fine because the Groudon can't really hit the Landorus for big damage, and all we have to do is just deal big damage right back. He didn't click Follow Me. He was going for the Palkia the whole time, but because we got the special defense boost, the Amoongus lives, and now because we went for Airstream, we're faster than the Groudon now, and all I have to do is just click Earthquake, and then the game ends. Even if we didn't crit the Clefairy, it's a 4-on-1 at that point, and that's all she wrote. So Landorus does really, really well against those Sun teams, especially with Ho. Like, I'm surprised he led like that. So, or he didn't even bring the Gastrodon, so to speak. So, there's that. So let's look at another one. All right, so this one's a little more interesting. So this is also another Sun core with Calyrex-Ice and Zygarde. So I have no idea what Calyrex-Ice is supposed to be doing here. I feel like maybe even Zamazenta might be a little bit better, but he has Calyrex-Ice. Landorus does really well here again. It's just Calyrex-Ice Rider that's the problem, but as long as we intimidate that thing, we should be fine. So we're still going to go Landorus, Amoongus. If he has Calyrex-Ice, then we change the plans, but he just goes with the Sun core, which is really, really nice because now I can just Dynamax the Landorus and just go ham here. Now, what I plan to do is just try and spore the Torkoal, so this is why I'm going for Airstream. Now, he has no Sash. He was actually Life Orb Venu, and this is why. You like either Koba, Weakness Posse, or Sash Venu, because now he just lost his max turn 1 and the Torkoal is asleep, and now our Amoongus is faster than his Calyrex, so we can just sleep that if we want, and then I can just get some chip damage. He switches out the Torkoal for Mimikyu, but that doesn't really do anything because now next turn we can just pretty much go for the same play and just go ham here. So he tries to double protect, he doesn't get it. I don't blame him, that's probably his best play. So we go for the Rockfall, we proc the Policy, but again, we just spore that, and yes, he goes for Trick Room, but he's asleep, so what good does it do? Alright, and now we return back to normal. He goes into Torkoal again, but this is fine, because, I mean, he just spores and he takes a turn of sleep, but we just go for Earthquake next turn, which is what we did, and then we just deal big damage to the Calyrex. I protect the Amoongus just in case he wakes up here and clicks Glacial Lance, because at the end, I can just, you know, bring in something else, but he doesn't wake up, he stays asleep, and an Earthquake honestly just finishes him off. So this is why Landorus Amoongus again is a very, very strong combo. And you know, surprisingly, he didn't go for sleep shenanigans himself, but not like he could because he Dynamaxed the Venu, and it was a Life Orb Venu, so that was very, very easy for Landorus. All right, last one here. So this is a pretty standard Tonogre team with Zacian. So not Landorus as the lead, but this time we'll bring in Palkia Amoongus. And then Landorus in the back looks really good because Landorus just destroys his entire team with the exception of Kyogre. So as long as we manage our Landorus and our Palkia very well, then it's over. And then we'll just bring in Zacian in the back for extra security. So here we go. So he actually just goes with a typical Tornogre lead. I'm going Palkia and I'm going Amoongus. So I'm just going to redirect. Actually, I think I was going for Spore, but I'm still going for Trick Room either way. And there it is. So now we can just bring in Landorus. Now I could Dynamax the Palkia and deal big damage here, but then if he has a Zacian, then I'm in trouble. So I kind of want to just Dynamax the Landorus here and then just put pressure on the Kyogre because I'm probably slower anyway. So I'm maxing the Landorus. There's the Spatial Ren, and actually he's the faster one, so that's very interesting considering the speeds here. But it is what it is. That's okay. I thought it would be a little bit faster, but that's okay. I know Kyogre has base 90 speed, but you know, I didn't think, I thought he would be like Scarf or something, but I should have known that. At least he doesn't need the Scarf on this kind of team. So Trick Room not working to my advantage there, but that's okay. So he brings in the Lecky, but that does nothing to Landorus. So all I have to do is just break the Sash on the Torn, and I should be okay. And now we have 2 Spit Def boosts. So he does go for the Icy Wind, but we do live because we have HP investment and we have a +2 boost. This is why you want a little bit of HP investment on your Landorus. We remove the Lecky, so we don't have to deal with it later, especially when Trick Room expires. Now all he has left is the Zacian. Alright, now I could have read this. You know, this is obviously a Protect, so what I could have done was just like Rock Slide here and just take out the Torn. So this way my Palkia can still survive one more turn. But instead, I go for the Earthquake, which does no damage against both of these, and I'm going to lose my Palkia to Life Orb Chip. But that's okay, because I have my own Zacian in the back, which is what I do bring in here. And now he has to like almost pick and choose, and he guesses wrong here. He picks the Landorus, which is fine by me, and that almost kills him. So the only way he wins here is with the crit, but he doesn't get it. And now we just KO him right back, and we take home the win. So all 3 battles really good. We saw the strong Amoongus Landorus lead, how very impressive that can be. We saw Palkia Amoongus. You can even do like, again, Thundurus Landorus as another lead. You can go Thundurus Palkia as another lead. You know, it just all depends on the matchup here. You know, there's going to be like some Sun matchups where you have to lead Thundurus Landorus and just change the reign right from the get-go. But the game that we had didn't call for it. You can even do like, you know, instant Palkia, Fake Out turn 1, and then go for Trick Room Parting Shot into like your Amoongus, for example. So a lot of different kind of combinations, a lot of different leads. It's a very flexible team, a very standard solid team, I would say, for Palkia Zacian. And at some point I think I'll make it a rental code, but again, that'll be it here. So let's just go ahead and look at the pace one more time. So here's the Pokepaste one more time. We're going to put it in the video description, but again, let me know if you want to see this as a rental code to try it out for yourself. Again, it's a pretty solid standard Palkia Zacian theme, something that's, you know, very consistent and reliable. You know, it's just something to try out like on your own first, and then if you want to like mess around with it a little bit, then you can just use this and then just make some changes if you need to. But I feel like this is pretty solid for what it can do. And again, if you're interested in team building or team fixing, those are tier 2 and tier 3 subs on the channel. So make sure you join the channel, message me on Discord or Twitter, and we'll get started and help you optimize your team or help you build a team that's something that's really strong and consistent. And again, real life events are coming back. Regionals are on the horizon. So one of them already finished with Brisbane in Australia. So there's going to be more coming up. So if you're competing in those regionals or if you're competing in other tournaments and you need some help, again, join the channel, tier 2, tier 3 sub, and we'll help you out there. So we'll be back with another Series 12 video. Until next time, guys, have a good one.